Welcome to this session where we are talking about forecasting. Yes, the human resource or the personal management department also does forecasting. And what do they forecast? They forecast the future demand and supply of the labor market. Now, when we are doing a workforce planning, when the department sits down to do a planning of its recruitment strategy, the workforce planning, there are 5 things that you must take into consideration when you are doing the planning. The right cost, obviously. And what is this cost that we are talking about? We are talking of not just the compensation that goes into the employees, but in case you're dealing with recruitment agencies, what is the right cost for that? What is the right time to employ these candidates? And which is the right department or the right place or the right position for that person? What are the kind of skills that you require? And then finally, who are the people that you're going to recruit? All these points come into play when you are doing planning of your workforce. For you to do a planning of your workforce, you need to know what would be the demand and supply in the future. And that's where forecasting comes. So forecasting is a process that every team must do on a very regular basis, because that's what helps you to have adequate number of employees in hand and also to predict what's going to happen in the future. So there are various approaches to forecasting the demand and supply of labor markets. You can use the Delphi technique, where you have just a few people, the key stakeholders, and you interview them, or you get an expert panel and you ask them what their ideas are. You can have the nominal technique, where you have a greater number of participants taking part in your surveys and telling you what the demand and supply of the labor market in the future could be. You can have brainstorming sessions with various people in the organization and outside. You can have ratio analysis. You can have a scatter plot where you have 2 variables. There are various ways in which you can forecast the demand and supply of the future. But what is important is that you should do it, so that in future you do not fall short. And it helps to balance out the labor demand. And what are some of the questions that business owners must take into consideration when they are doing a forecasting? They need to understand, where are we going as a business? Are we diversifying? Are we approaching new areas? Are we innovating? Then we need to deal with those situations and have those kind of people with us. And what are our absenteeism? Which are the areas where we have more absenteeism? And what are the products that we are developing? Because we need skill-based people in those areas. Once we have a forecast, what are the requirements? Once you have a forecast plan in place, then you know what are your future requirements. And you need to understand and evaluate whether you need that many number of people. How can you optimally utilize the human resource that you have forecast for? And you can probably find these people within the organization or from outside. And in case you find that you have too many employees in your organization, you need to have an effective strategy where these extra employees are being utilized probably in a different field, so that they are not underutilized. And you need to also have a plan for redundancies, which are bound to crop up in any organization where there would be some people who are probably sitting on the bench. And you also need to have retirement plans when you are doing a forecasting plan, because you are finally talking about employees and their careers and their professional life. And so we need to ensure that employees are neither underutilized nor sitting on the bench, but that they are being optimally utilized. They can be probably separated into different departments. But finally, at the end of it all, when you are doing a forecast, we must ensure that we are not taking on too much more than the organization can handle, but that you are optimally utilizing those resources. Thank you.